California's Governor Gavin Newsom today signed a bill that would require the president to release his tax returns, 5 years of them, before he could appear on that state's 2020 primary ballot. In a statement, Trump campaign spokesman Tim Murtaugh called the move, quote, unconstitutional. California is now involved in more than 40 lawsuits challenging various Trump administration policies. You get the feeling that the California Democratic empire doesn't like our president. Well, joining me now, former acting U.S. Attorney General Matthew Whitaker. Matt, great to have you here.
Hey, Lou, thanks for having me today.
First of all, I got to get your lawyerly counsel. Can a state do that and get away with it?
Completely unconstitutional. Governor Moonbeam, or Jerry Brown, as some might know him, wouldn't even sign that bill because he knew it was unconstitutional.
Right.
It is not. I mean, but you're in the crazy Ninth Circuit, and in my experience at DOJ and as Attorney General and as Chief of Staff, you know, we fought all sorts of ridiculous battles in the Ninth Circuit only to eventually win them in the Supreme Court. And so, I mean, I think they're, you know, the trial courts in California are going to be difficult. The Ninth Circuit's going to be difficult, but this on its face is unconstitutional, and there's just no way this survives. So if I was the president, I would not worry about this California bill.
And let's turn to what we do have to worry about.
Yeah, there's plenty.
And that's a couple of special counsel investigations led by the Attorney General. William Barr, your thoughts about this man and what he faces in the way of challenges to clean up a corrupt FBI leadership, a corrupt Justice Department leadership?
So the good news is some of those people are gone. McCabe's gone, Comey's gone, Baker's gone, the chief of staff at FBI. I mean, all these people have been rotated out.
Right.
You know, Chris Wray is taking charge. I don't think he's moving as quickly as some might want to root out
on
some
that list of people.
Yeah, I understand. But at the same time, Bill Barr is the perfect person to do the cleanse of the intelligence community writ large. The president's given him some really good authority to go in and to find out sort of how the intelligence community was used and how the Russia investigation started and all of that. But if you remember, Barr, before he was Attorney General, he was on the oversight board of the intelligence community.
Right.
And so he understands this game, and I think he's the perfect person to do it. And now that my friend John Ratcliffe is going to be nominated for ODNI, he and I were U.S. attorneys together, very excited about you know, the opportunity he has to go into the national intelligence community. And really, I think he's going to not only be fair and impartial like he was as a U.S. attorney, but I think he's the right person to lead and to take those organizations in the right direction.
And speaking of intelligence, the Senate Intelligence Committee Chair Richard Burr coming out and saying that you know, basically he had some questions about how partisan Ratcliffe would be at DNI. Now, this is after we have watched the Democrats try to overthrow a presidency, try to block the Trump candidacy for the office. I mean, what in the world is wrong with that guy?
Well, I mean, listen, I think Burr has come out and said that he will help John get confirmed, and I think some of these news reports, I never trust anonymous sources. It's usually somebody that's lost the fight and then they want to, you know, burn a bridge or otherwise get their point of view out. And so I think ultimately John Ratcliffe is going to do what he did as U.S. attorney in a new role at DNI, and that is to put any partisanship to the side and to follow the law and the facts and to do the job and to lead with great honor and integrity.
We're watching, speaking of honor and integrity, John Solomon, who's been at the forefront of the reporting, as you well know, on Spygate in all its various forms. Chris Wray appears to be trying to cover up for James Comey and to cover up in the doggonedest ways. For example, suing to block the release of documents that are, frankly, you know, they contain mostly information that has been in the clear, absolutely open sources.
Yeah, that's a very interesting lawsuit, and I think, you know, oftentimes you're trying to protect your methods and sources, or if you have if you receive some intelligence from a foreign intelligence source, but in this case, it doesn't appear it meets any of those qualifications. And so the good news, and I mean, I hate to say this because sometimes We want it to be immediate, but a court will probably take that and review it in camera, see what the arguments are, and make a good decision. And then we have you have the rights to appeal. So I think ultimately that information will get out. And I think we need more transparency. We need more accountability. I think some of these challenges, once we have that transparency and accountability, I think we'll be able to restore the integrity and the people's belief in the Department of Justice and the FBI, because I know it's there. I know the men and women at the FBI and DOJ, and the rank and file are solid and are trying to do the right thing. And so, with the right leadership, I know that we can get over this hill and get to a better place.
Well, I'm not going to ask you a question about whether or not Ray represents right leadership. I'm just going to say that if we see continued efforts to obfuscate and to deny the American public's right to know on the part of FBI and Justice Department officials, we're going to be in a hell of a mess, even beyond the vast dimensions of the current mess.
Right, and I'll be one of the people that will speak out on this, because I do believe that the American people are entitled to a full accounting and transparency so that we make sure this never happens again to another president, that this type of investigation is launched against him.
Matt Whitaker, an absolute delight to talk.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. All the best.